Hello beautiful people. Yes, it's another opportunity to learn. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a particular turban design. My name is DoliveB and I'm the creative director of DoliveB Krafties. So these are the basic materials I have to work with. I have my fabrics. These are my fabrics, and I have this is doll face. I'll be using this to make the base of the turban, and this is net. I'm going to be using it to make the design. All right, I have my art wire. This is millinery wire. Okay, and I have my measuring tape. I have my fabric glue. In place of fabric glue, you can use UHU or B6000 glue, fabric glue or UHU. I have my needle and thread. I don't have an exact matching color of thread at the moment, but this is what I have to work with. I have my office pins. I have my chalk, and I have this crinoline. I have this crinoline. This is the crinoline of about 3 inches width or 3.5 inches width to work with, and I have plier to cut my art wire. I have my scissors to work with. Now, if there is any other accessory or any other material I didn't mention at this point, I will let you know while working. And you may also need appliques or accessories, stones, pearls, gemstones, and all that to embellish your work with. You know, all this depends on how creative you are or based on choice. Now let's get started. I'll be using this one to make my turban base. Now, I have 4 pieces of heart wire cut out, 4 pieces, and they are of the same measurement. The measurement is 15 inches length. 15 inches length. I'll be making I'll be using 2 of these pieces to form one particular shape, and 2 of this other 2 to form another shape. Now, this is going to be used to form an oval shape, while these 2 will be used to form triangles. Now, I'm going to be starting by forming oval shapes with this first set of 2 wires. So I will bend this way. I'll bend it this way. Can you see? Bend this way. Remember, this is 15 inches. So I have this extra here. After bending it, I have about 1 inch. I can make it 1 inch. So I'm going to use my plier to bend this excess this way. Bend it this way. So this is an oval shape. I am having this as where my wire will overlap. All right, it is required for it to overlap for us to keep it in place. So I'm going to use my thread to tie these ends of wire together. Can you see? I'm forming 2 of this, okay, and I'm going to use my thread. I just take my thread multiple times. I just double my thread multiple times, and I use it to tie it. Okay, now I'm going to use these 2 other wires to form a triangle. Okay, so I'm just going to form a triangle. I can just take my measurement and bend my wire here to form the base of the triangle. Then I come here and I bend it over to form the shape of a triangle, or something like this. Something like this. It may not necessarily be a triangle. Look at it, like an half bow. Okay, so I have this extended here. The idea is to have our wire bent this way so that it will overlap. If it doesn't overlap, your wire will not stay. You know, these are techniques you should know as a milliner. So at this point, this is like and this is about 1 inch extra that I gave it right here, and I'm going to bend it this way. Bend it this way. So this comes like this, and it's going to overlap right here. Can you see? I'm going to use my thread to tie this here. So I'm going to be doing this the same way. Remember, there are 2 wires we're forming the same shape with. Now I am going to just make sure it's of the same measurement, starting from here. can use your measuring tape together. Make sure it's of the same measurement before you go ahead and bend. Can you see? Make sure it's of the same measurement. This is what we have. Okay, so I have my thread and I'm going to just tie the ends of the wire together on the parts that they are meant to overlap, like this. You can use paper tape for this part. You can use paper tape, but I just feel like using thread. It makes it easier. You know, you need to hold the wires firmly while you tie. Okay, I'm just going to take it like that over it and tie the ends together. The other two the same way. Now the ends of the wires are joined together with my thread, as you can see. Now I'm going to cut out of my net fabric, just a little piece from my net fabric. I'm going to use that to wrap my wire around. You can use a bar strip, you can use the thread, the matching color of thread, and you can just cut out a piece of fabric like I am doing, of matching colors of your materials to do this. Okay, I'm going to be using this to wrap the wire around like this. Using my glue, I'll just use my glue. So I'm going to place this right here, and I'm going to cut at what I feel will be enough, to cover. So let me just cut out what I feel will be okay. So I've cut out my net. I'll just trim off this part. Okay, now this is the right side of the net, facing down. Okay, and this is our wire. Place it on top of it with the right side facing down, while the wrong side is facing up. Okay, now I'm going to start using I'll start taking my net over it like this. Okay, and I'll use my office pins to hold them down while I walk. So this came this way, while this is going to be this way. You're just going to drag your net, just like you make a satellite art. Okay, so I'll just use my pin to hold it down. Okay, I come to this other side. I'm going to drag the net very firm. Make sure it is firm, please. Use your office pin to hold it down. In case of office pin, you can use clips, but make it firm. Make sure that the net is firm. Once you're done with that, and you're going to tie. I'm taking my needle through the. Remember, we wrapped the wire with net. Whatever fabric you're using, that you're using the wire strip or you're using the thread itself, you're going to be tacking your net to your wire through that same net. That's the reason why we did that before we proceeded. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew like that round. I'll just sew like that round. So you can take your piece while you're working. So I drag the net a little like that, and I'm going to sew. Now I have sewn my wire to my net like that. I am meant to apply glue to seal my wires. You know, there's some part of the net that the needle and thread may not have touched, so that's why we need to do this. To put my glue like that round, just to seal those parts. We may have openings before we go ahead and trim off the excess net. I've applied my glue and the net is kind of secured to the wire, so I'll just continue to trim off my net. I just trim it off to almost where we have the wire like that. Make sure that it is very neat. Just trim it off like that. I've trimmed off the excess net. As you can see, this is the right side and this is the wrong side. Okay, so the next step is for us to cover the edges of our net, our wire, with a piece of fabric. I'm using satin. The satin which I actually use to make the cap is what I'm going to be using. So I've cut it out already, and the width is about 2 inches. Let's say 2 inches by the length. The length I have here is about 17 inches. Okay, just take a measuring tape round to be sure of what length of fabric you'll be cutting out, or what will be enough. So you can just add extra inches. You can easily trim that off while working. So I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to fold in form of a bias strip. You can actually try using a bias strip, but for bias strip it won't totally cover your wire. Okay, so it's better to use your fabric. So I'm folding like this in form of a bias strip. You can use your iron, fold like this, and iron very well so to keep it in place. Then you come here and start sewing it to it like this. So you're going to take this to your sewing machine, and you take it to your sewing machine and sew it to it like that, round, like that round. You fold in form of a bias strip. Okay, then you sew up till you get to this point. So when it comes to this, you're going to be repeating the same procedure. All you just need to do is you follow the shape. Just follow the shape. Fold like this. You can start from where you know it's going to be hidden. It's going to be staying like this, so we're starting from here. You can just fold in form of a bias strip, and you start from here like that. Just follow the shape. Okay, while sewing, follow the shape like that, follow it like that. So when you get, I'll show you the next step. I've sewn my satin strip round my net. I did the same for others. Now it's time for us to assemble. Before you assemble, you can decide to place trimmings or something to beautify it. Maybe any fine trimmings, just place it with your glue, UHU glue it round before you proceed to this. So I'm going to arrange these two together this way. And I'm going to tack with my needle and thread. So I'll tack this to this. Now this one comes this way. Just tack it like this. I've tacked my first set of designs together. We have this piece of fabric I'm going to be using to design my turban. So I have this made already. Let me explain how I got this. I have this piece of fabric and the measurement is, I'm using satin as well. The measurement is 6 inches width by 8 inches long. Okay, so I placed my paper stay interfacing on it, paper stay to be precise. This is how paper stay looks like. Okay, that was what I placed on the fabric, and I put, there are two sides. There's a part that has gum and there's a part that is plain. So you're going to place the gum part on top of your fabric like this, and you will iron. So when you iron it to stick to it, then you can trim off the excesses. All right, so that's how I got this. Now I'm going to face this up. That's the right side faces up, and I fold in half, and I'm going to sew from here to here with my sewing machine. Now after doing that, this is what I got, and I'm going to turn the right side out. I have a video that explains all this on my YouTube channel, but let me just quickly go through it because of those who may not have seen the video or who does not have an idea of how to make this flower. So after turning the right side out, we're going to be inserting our crinoline. This crinoline is about 3 inches width. We're going to just fold like this and push it into this piece of fabric and bring it out like that. Make sure that the seam is facing up. Bring the seam to the center of the fabric. I'll just cut this rough part off, and I'm going to cut the excess here like this. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be doing for every other piece I have here. I will insert my crinoline inside. So for each of them, I'm going to use my needle and thread. I'll fold in like this to form a loop. Okay, and I'm going to sew from here. I'll sew loose stitches from here to here like this. I pull, I take it back again. We're going to be arranging them on top of our design. So you can just pick one and tack. Pick one and tack. Okay. Just tack it where you want to be. Arrange it how you want it. You just need to arrange in such a way that it will be very nice and okay. Depends on how you like it or how your client wants it, or just be creative. Okay, I can use it to create a bow, and we can actually use that to finally place. Can use that to cover this our middle part when we are done tacking it to our turban. So I am going to tack this to my turban cap now. Okay, now I want to tack my design to my cap. This is my cap base. I made it with the same satin fabric. It is not stretchy, so I have hands at the back to tie it. I'll place on my mannequin head and mark where I want my design to stay, okay, before I now tack. To use this to cover this part like this. Okay, just to cover the thread we have at the back of this our cap. I'm going to make, you can make roses with the fabric itself and use it to cover this part, or you buy ready-made roses. So this is going to be staying right here to cover it. So with my glue gun, I'll be using this. Onto the back of the cap, we have the same bow I made here, but I just increased the measurement. I used 8 inches for the length of the small, while this I used 10 inches, so I had to cover the back very well. Remember, we see our flowers in front, so that's why I just extended the length of this. So this is how it looks like. This is the front of our cap. This is the back of our cap. Thank you very much for watching.